Imagine a world where children aren't just playing with robots, but learning with them, and maybe even putting on a full-blown theater show together.
Yeah, it sounds kind of like science fiction, doesn't it?
It really does. Today, we're diving into a truly fascinating study that basically made that imaginative world a reality. It uncovered some, well, surprising and really vital insights into how children perceive and interact with social robots.
That's right. This deep dive is centered around a 9-week child robot theater after-school program. It was developed by researchers at Virginia Tech.
Okay.
And the study wasn't just about, creating an engaging STEAM learning environment that's science, technology, engineering, arts, and math
But it's STEAM.
using social robots. It was also a really deep exploration into how these hands-on interactions actually shape children's understanding of robots' mental capacities and their overall learning experiences, too.
So our mission today is basically to unpack the core findings from this really groundbreaking research. We'll look at what kids thought robots could do, like before the program and then after. We'll hear what the teachers observed.
Yeah, that's crucial, too.
Totally. And most importantly, consider what all of this means for, designing future educational experiences with AI. If you've ever wondered how young minds truly grapple with emerging technology, how they build their understanding, and what it means for their future, well, this deep dive is absolutely for you.
While there's definitely growing interest in integrating technologies like robots into K-12 education, a lot of studies tend to focus on the formal classroom setting.
Right, like during the school day.
Exactly. This particular research aimed to fill a pretty crucial gap by focusing on informal environments, specifically after-school programs.
Oh, sure.
The goal was to see if these kinds of programs could not only provide engaging learning, but also maybe prepare children for appropriate human-robot interactions, in a world where humans and robots are increasingly living side by side.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So let's set the scene then. What exactly did this unique program look like?
Right. So it was a 9-week after-school initiative held at an elementary school.
Gotcha.
And it was specifically designed to promote STEAM education through a whole series of hands-on creative activities, really focused on creativity.
Nice. How many kids?
It involved 38 students, all between 6 and 10 years old.
Okay, that age range.
Yeah, and it was structured around 4 distinct modules. So first, there was drawing. Kids explored design concepts with robots, even created costumes.
Cool. Costumes for the robots.
Costumes related to the play, yeah. Then came dancing. This taught them about robot weight, balance, physicality, motion, how these things actually move.
Right, the physical reality of it.
Exactly. Then a music and sounds module. Here, they discussed how music can be generated based on emotion and gestures, and they actually created sounds with both robots and AI.
Wow.
And finally, acting. This is where they delved into robot anthropomorphism.
That's the giving human traits to non-humans thing.
Precisely. Attributing human traits or emotions to non-human entities. And they learned to control robot motions and speech for the performance.
So they were really getting into the programming side, too.
Absolutely. And all of this incredible work culminated in a final theater play. The kids got to perform with the very robots they'd helped create and program.
That sounds like an absolute dream project for a kid. Seriously. And you mentioned they performed with robots. Who are these robotic co-stars?
It really was something special. To bring this child robot theater to life, the program used a pretty diverse cast of social robots.
Okay.
We're talking about a mix of humanoids like Pepper and NAO. They served as instructors sometimes and platforms for programming speech and movement.
Right, I've seen pictures of those.
Yeah, and even Milo, a robot designed specifically to display human facial expressions that helped the children explore emotions for their plays.
Ah, Milo. Okay. Makes sense for theater.
Definitely. Then there was the popular Aibo, Sony's robot dog. It responded to verbal commands and touch, so it was great for teaching gentle interaction. And there was Quincy, the robot artist, who guided students in drawing activities by responding to QR codes.
That's a really interesting collection. What was the thinking behind using such a variety of robots? Was it just about having cool tech, or?
That's a great question. The key here was really the variety of interactive experiences these different robots offered.
Okay.
They moved beyond just simple task-oriented robot kits. These were social robots that could genuinely foster emotional and social development. Their physical presence was crucial.
Right, being there in the room.
Exactly. It allowed for rich, embodied learning experiences and the expression of emotions within the program and, the final theater production. This blend just perfectly aligned with the program's objectives of integrating both STEM and the arts.
Got it. So the varieties serve the STEAM goal.
Mm-hmm. And as for the research itself, the study used a pre-test, post-test design.
Standard approach.
Yeah. It meant children were interviewed at the beginning and then again at the end of the program. They used both structured and open-ended questions.
Okay.
They were specifically asked about their perceptions of robots compared to other familiar entities. Babies and beetles, actually.
Babies and beetles,
Uh-huh.
that's specific. Why them?
Well, it gives you comparison points, right? A human infant and a simple biological organism helps gauge where robots fit in their mental map. They also asked about their general interest and curiosity in learning.
Makes sense.
And, importantly, teachers were also interviewed after the program to gather their insights, so that gave us a more comprehensive understanding from multiple perspectives.
Okay, let's unpack those findings then, because this is where it gets really telling. What did the kids initially believe about robots before they even got hands-on with them?
Right, that's a fantastic place to start. Before the program, children had some quite interesting and, well, somewhat inflated ideas about robots' mental capacities.
Inflated how?
They generally rated robots significantly higher than babies and beetles in areas like cognitive abilities, agentic capabilities, which is basically a robot's ability to make its own choices.
Like free will, almost.
Kind of, yeah, and what they called awareness of things. But in a fascinating contrast, they saw babies as having significantly higher affective feelings and physiological sensation, like feeling sick or hungry.
So in their young minds, robots were smart, maybe even autonomous in a way, but babies were the ones with feelings and tummy aches.
Exactly. That was the starting point.
So they started with robots being these intelligent, almost independent beings, but lacking that sort of squishy emotional side of life. Okay, here's where it gets really interesting, though. After 9 weeks of working, programming, and actually performing with these robots, how did those perceptions shift?
This is truly the heart of the findings. While children still perceived robots as having limited emotional and social capabilities compared to humans, they didn't suddenly think robots were people.
Right, okay.
Their understanding became significantly more realistic. After the program, they rated robots significantly lower in physiological sensation, agentic capabilities, and that awareness of things.
Lower. So less like they feel sick, less like they make their own choices.
Precisely. What this shows is that direct, hands-on interaction helped them grasp the true limitations of robots. They could differentiate them more clearly from biological life. They seemed to move away from, generously attributing decision-making to what were really just programmed responses. They got a more grounded understanding of what robots actually can and cannot do.
Okay, that makes sense. Hands-on reality check. Yet, and this is the fascinating twist you mentioned, their ratings for robots' affective experience, perceptual abilities, cognitive abilities, and social abilities increased after the program. So on one hand, they saw robots as less biological and less autonomous, but on the other, they saw them as more capable of interacting and maybe even showing some kind of emotion. How do you reconcile those two seemingly opposite shifts?
That's a brilliant question, and it really speaks to the nuance of how we perceive things, especially complex things like robots. While they understood the robot's biological limits, that they don't feel sick or truly choose to do things in a human sense, they also learned about their programmed human-like cues. They saw robots that were programmed with behaviors and expressions that mimicked human interactions, and naturally, kids applied social concepts to them.
So they recognize the programming behind the social behavior.
Or at least they recognized the social behavior itself and rated it higher. So even if the emotions were programmed, the experience of interacting with them made children perceive a greater capacity for social engagement and maybe even a limited form of emotional awareness being displayed. It's not really a contradiction. It's more like a critical balance developing in their understanding.
So this isn't about kids thinking robots are secretly sentient or anything.
No, not at all.
It's more about them understanding their programmed capabilities in a more sophisticated way. And this perceptual adjustment, you're saying, can actually be very helpful.
Exactly. It encourages children to view robots as entities capable of learning and interacting socially, even if their emotions are programmed. This seems to foster an appropriate level of trust and engagement without, over-attributing truly human qualities. It's a really key part of developing effective and safe human-robot interaction down the line.
That makes sense. And maybe one of the most heartwarming and impactful findings was the change in the children's attitudes toward the robots themselves.
Oh, definitely.
Before the program, you said many kids saw robots as purely functional tools to command. They'd say things like, do whatever I say, or do what I tell them to do, even make them clean my room. Very much a master-servant kind of dynamic.
And that shifted dramatically. After the program, they expressed a really profound sense of caring and respect. Their language actually changed. You heard phrases like robots should do what they, meaning the robots, want to or can do.
Wow, attributing wants or abilities to the robot itself.
Right. And a clear statement that they don't want to be mean to them. This really suggests the program fostered not just an understanding of appropriate human-robot interaction, but maybe even an emerging ethical awareness. That feels like a crucial foundation for a future that's going to be intertwined with AI.
It really does. It sounds like these kids were not just learning code, but also a new kind of, I don't know, social etiquette for technology. That's quite a leap from just seeing them as a potential cleaning machine.
It is.
And what about their curiosity? Did they just want robots to do things for them, or did they become more interested in understanding the robots themselves?
They absolutely wanted to understand them. Children showed a much higher curiosity in learning how robots work. They expressed interest in making robots, coding or programming robots, and really understanding how robots work internally. It wasn't just about focusing on what robots could do for them.
That's a significant shift.
Huge. And kind of extending that newfound respect and understanding, they even developed an effective bond. They started wanting robots as companions.
Companions, like friends.
Yeah, for things like hugging, playing video games, or even get this as a bodyguard.
A robot bodyguard. Okay, maybe still a bit of fantasy thinking there.
Well, yeah, perhaps. But it highlights a desire for connection, not just utility, a real shift in perspective.
That's incredible. And speaking of desire, what about their overall interest in STEAM subjects? Did this 9-week intense program boost it? Or
Right.
did it maybe fade over time?
Well, what's really impressive here is that while there wasn't a statistically significant increase in their interest, like the scores didn't jump way higher.
Okay.
Children maintained a consistently high level of interest, self-efficacy, that's their confidence in their own abilities.
Right there.
Yeah.
I can do this feeling.
Exactly. And curiosity in robots and STEAM throughout the entire 9-week program. Their ratings stayed robustly high, like between 4 and 5 on a 5-point scale.
Wow, so it kept them hooked.
Totally. That sustained engagement is a huge win for keeping young minds excited about these really critical learning areas. It didn't fizzle out.
That's fantastic. So the kids were clearly engaged. They were learning. They were even developing these new ethical perspectives. But what about the adults in the room? What did the teachers observe and report?
Right. The teachers' interviews provided some really crucial insights, and they largely confirmed the program's success from their viewpoint. They observed immense enthusiasm from the children.
Yeah. Like what?
Well, they noted comments like, all the kids wanted to sign up, and how students would literally throw a tantrum because they want to stay longer when the sessions ended.
Huh. Always a good sign when they don't want to leave.
Definitely. And the children were apparently so deeply engaged that they would even share their experiences and what they learned with others outside the program, spreading the word.
That's a strong indicator of impact, for sure. What specifically stood out to the teachers regarding the learning experience itself? Did they notice specific skills developing?
They really highlighted how the robots created genuinely joyful and engaging learning experiences. They particularly enjoyed the drawing and dancing modules, calling them eye-opening for the children.
Ah, the arts integration.
Yes. And a big hit was the immediate feedback children got from programming the robots. They could see their code come to life right there in real time. That's incredibly motivating for kids.
Oh, absolutely. Instant gratification, but educational.
Exactly. And what's fascinating here is how teachers recognize the importance of embodied learning, that learning by doing with the actual physical presence of the robots was really instrumental.
Not just screens.
Right. They saw students gaining specific knowledge about the robot's physical capabilities, like the dancing module showing balance limitations and learning appropriate ways to interact, considering those limitations.
Got it. And Beyond the direct STEM learning, or STEAM learning, I should say, were there any other unexpected benefits the teachers noticed?
Absolutely. There was a notable observation regarding social emotional skill development.
No, interesting.
How
Yeah.
so?
Teachers mentioned that interactions with certain robots, like the Aibo dog's eye contact and responsiveness, actually seemed to help autistic children in the program practice social and emotional skills. This kind of aligns with other research on using robots for therapeutic interventions.
That's a really powerful side benefit.
It is. And it wasn't just the students who benefited. The teachers themselves had a hugely positive experience. Many were apparently shocked by how quickly the children adapted and how much they enjoyed learning about robots. They often expressed a wish that they had such opportunities as kids.
I bet.
Yeah. They became more familiar and comfortable with the technology themselves, and many expressed a real desire to incorporate robots into their own future programs, believing, as one said, robots are essential in everyday life.
That's powerful when the teachers themselves become advocates for the technology, seeing its potential firsthand.
Mm.
But, as with any emerging technology in an educational setting, there are always challenges. It can't have been all smooth sailing. What were some of the concerns or difficulties the teachers highlighted?
Indeed, it wasn't all perfect, and these challenges are really crucial for anyone thinking about future program design. One significant concern was distraction.
Ah, the novelty factor.
Exactly. Some children became too focused on the sheer newness and coolness of the robots themselves, which could potentially divert attention from the core STEAM learning objectives. As one teacher put it quite bluntly, robots could be a big distraction.
I can certainly see that. The shiny new gadget effect is real.
Yeah.
Were there other issues beyond just distraction? Any social dynamics at play?
Yes, definitely. There were issues reported around peer relationships because the number of these high-cost research robots was limited.
Not enough peppers to go around.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Competition for direct interaction sometimes led to fighting and aggressive behavior among students. This is a really critical point. While robots can foster engagement, they also need careful management to avoid negative social dynamics and ensure everyone gets fair access, promoting collaborative learning instead of competition.
That's a tricky balance. And then there are just the practicalities of running a program like this. What about the logistics? Were those a headache?
Teachers definitely pointed out significant practical difficulties. The high cost of the robots themselves is a major barrier.
Yeah, these aren't cheap toys.
Not at all. Then there's the substantial time required for setup, charging, ongoing maintenance, and also the need for specialized training for the staff running the program.
Right, you can't just hand these over.
No. These factors raise serious concerns about the accessibility and scalability of such programs for most schools. These research-grade robots are expensive, and they require specific expertise to operate and maintain effectively. These weren't just minor issues. They highlighted crucial social, pedagogical, and especially financial considerations for anyone wanting to replicate this.
Okay, so it's a complex balancing act, maximizing the clear benefits while trying to mitigate these pretty significant downsides. Given all these insights, the good and the bad, what concrete recommendations did the study offer for people looking to implement similar programs in the future?
Well, the study didn't just report the findings. It offered some really concrete, actionable design guidelines, which I think are incredibly valuable. First, they strongly recommend forming a multidisciplinary team.
Makes sense. Not just engineers.
Right. You need engineers, human development experts, education administrators, all collaborating from the very beginning. That ensures you cover all the angles, from the technical side to the developmental needs of the kids to the actual teaching methods.
Good point. And it's not just about who's on the team, right? But how the curriculum itself is structured. They suggested developing modularized lessons.
Precisely. Breaking down the curriculum into those distinct themes we talked about, acting, dancing, music, drawing, keeps students engaged because there are new challenges, like every 2 weeks or so.
Keeps it fresh.
Exactly. And this modular approach also seems to help them retain knowledge better. Using those distinct themes as memory anchors makes the whole learning process more digestible and, well, memorable.
Okay, good tip. Then there's the essential practical side. Plan for program logistics. You can't ignore that.
Absolutely crucial. Thorough planning for the equipment, securing the right kind of learning space, and managing all aspects of robot setup, including consistent charging, powering up routines. It's non-negotiable. You really don't want robots running out of juice mid-lesson. These details can make or break a program.
Totally. And the human element is key too. Involve teachers and staff.
Yes, actively engaging and training teachers is vital. It does a couple of things. It familiarizes them with the technology so they're comfortable, it empowers them to assist students effectively, and it supports the continuity of technology use, making the integration much smoother and more sustainable in the long run.
Right, build that internal capacity.
Yeah.
Now, to tackle that earlier point about distraction, they also suggested strategies to minimize distractions from robots. What did that look like specifically?
Yeah, that's a smart one. A practical approach is to consider introducing the robots maybe later in the free play period, or structuring activities so kids engage with the core concept before the robot interaction begins.
Ah, so don't lead with the robot necessarily.
Right. This ensures children focus on the learning objectives first, rather than getting immediately overwhelmed by just the novelty of the robot itself. It's about strategically managing that initial excitement wave.
Okay. And finally, a great way to handle the fact that you might not have enough of those expensive robots for every single kid at once?
Yes, they recommend to incorporate low-fidelity technologies,
Meaning?
meaning provide simpler robot toys or maybe AI-based games on tablets, things like that. Stuff kids can interact with continuously while they might be waiting for their turn with the more advanced research robots.
Keeps everyone busy and learning?
Exactly. It keeps all children engaged and motivated, ensuring that the learning doesn't just stop because a high-tech robot isn't immediately available to them. It makes the whole experience more equitable.
That's really practical advice.
Ultimately, what this whole deep dive underscores is that integrating social robots into education is about much more than just the cool technology itself.
Right.
It's really about shaping children's understanding of these complex new entities. It's about fostering critical thinking and nurturing appropriate, safe, and maybe even ethical human-robot interactions in a world where we are increasingly going to coexist with intelligent systems.
So we've really seen how a 9-week child robot theater program can profoundly transform children's understanding, moving them from seeing robots as just, tools or servants,
Yeah.
to a much more nuanced appreciation of their capabilities, their limitations, and crucially, the need for respectful interaction. It really is a journey from commander to caretaker, almost quite literally based on their comments.
It's a really powerful testament to the potential of embodied learning, that learning by doing with physical entities even when you're faced with significant logistical challenges. This research offers a pretty robust blueprint, I think, for creating engaging, enriching experiences that prepare children not just for careers in STEM fields, but for a future that is fundamentally going to be intertwined with intelligent machines. It fosters both that vital curiosity and an essential ethical awareness.
And as you reflect on all of this, maybe consider this provocative thought. If children learn to treat robots with respect and care, not just view them as tools, what does that actually teach them about their own relationships, about how they interact with the entire world around them, human and non-human? What kind of future, maybe one filled with more empathy and understanding, are we truly building when we encourage these kinds of interactions from a young age?